Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Survivor 45, Episode 3 reaction and review. Is this one of the best episodes of the show we have seen in a long time?
It really is. I mean, this just picked up steam from that first episode where I was kind of like, I'm not sure about this group. Oh my goodness, there were some moves made tonight, and I'm still in shock.
I think from top to bottom, like all the segments were great. This episode fully justified the 90 minutes. I felt like there was a
Yeah.
lot packed in, and we went from pure comedy at Tribal Council, where Sabiyah's trying to cook this idol like it
Oh
is
my
a steak
goodness.
on a grill, to then at one point she's like getting Caleb to hose down the idol, and then I'm sitting there thinking she's about to vote this guy out, and he's sitting here hosing down the idol for her. And then she effectively votes herself out of the game because she decides to hold on to the idol and lose her vote.
She was so sure. And like, even watching it here as home as viewers, I understand why she was so sure. Like, her being there, she really didn't have any way to really read what was going on. She really didn't.
Yeah, like I'm not mad at Sabaya. I feel really bad for her. I mean, it
Oh my
stinks to
goodness.
go out with an idol, but at least you now can say this is one of the more memorable early season vote outs we have seen in a really long time.
How do you get voted out while you're cooking an idol right in front of everybody? You just put it in your pocket and now you're going home with it. It is easily going to be one of the most memorable tribals for me.
Yeah, it was so interesting, and there's like a lot of strategic thinking all across the board here. And here's the funniest part to me about all this, and I will say this full of shame. Just my survivor brain is letting me down immensely because maybe at around like 15 minutes away from the end of the episode, I had totally forgotten about the rules with these idols that we had saw with Austin a little bit earlier on, where it's like, oh, this is only good for one tribal unless you decide to give up your vote. I was sitting here
Mhm.
being like, okay, well, it's probably gonna be some like 2-2 tie or something like that. I had totally forgotten about that twist, and then that twist came back up. It's like, oh, so this something else is happening now. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was part of me that wasn't sure if it was going to be the same twist for every idol. I mean, it's been kind of a little bit different with each idol. I mean, the one that Austin found was like, oh my goodness, that was just like an adventure of Goonies. You had to, pull this lever, grab this rope, smash this rock. Where, more for Sabai, it was like, okay, I have this idol, I have to melt it, but I have no fire. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe they're going to be doing it a little bit different, but that is not the case.
The hearing that the Belo blue tribe idol, you have to actually eat it, and then
Right?
you got carve out certain pieces of it with your teeth, and then you have to put it back together. Okay, no, we are of course going to get so much more into all of the deliciousness that is this episode. But quick note here: my birthday is on Friday, Friday the 13th. Everybody,
It is your birthday.
so
Celebrating all week, guys.
this is the birthday dance. I'm gonna do like a birthday party, kind of like we saw with that little music party over on the Reba McIntyre tribe. No,
Right?
what I really want for my birthday is for you guys to hit that subscribe button. We have been on these YouTube streets forever. We love talking about Survivor. We love interacting with you guys in the comments, and I would really love to see the channel grow. So thank you to everyone as well for the birthday wishes, and please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It'd be a really nice gift for Matt for his
Thank you.
birthday. Just hit that subscribe button and stick with us.
Okay, can I explain my emotional journey now with Emily as a Survivor player?
Yes.
I feel like, and yeah, I won't spoil anything, but I feel like this is similar to the journey watching this past season of Only Murders in the Building, where I came in with a certain take, and then
Yes,
like my
you
opinion
did.
just like radically changed. I flip flopped throughout the season. I went into this season of Survivor being like, Emily, you and Caleb are my people, and then after episode one, I was like, no, I am so far out. What Emily did in this episode, dare I say, is pretty brilliant because
Mhm.
I think what she realized, and this is something every Survivor player should realize, if you are not the first person somebody is coming to you with some information about, regardless of like the context of why they're telling this to you now, like she was aware of the fact that she was on the outs, and all of a sudden now Sabiyah is bringing this information about the idol to her, and she had to be like, okay, well, this is one, showing how capable Sabiyah is as
Mhm.
being a big player in this game, and two, it's still signifying where I am in her pecking order. Whereas for Caleb, I can be more of a number one to Caleb if I tell him this and he listens to me and he keeps me in this game.
And on top of it, Caleb, our guy
Yeah,
Caleb, I love Caleb.
Caleb's amazing.
He's just so social and people really like him. He's so charismatic, and I think Emily, she has said on the show she knows that that is not her strong suit. She's really unable to kind of play that type of a game. So partnering with somebody who can play that type of game, he's going to end up being a could be a bigger target than her. I mean, she's definitely ruffled some feathers, but he's playing such a good game that's like, if you come down to it, do you want to target the person who's like, no one's going to really vote for a jury? Do you want to target the person that everybody's going to vote for, at jury? So I think it's a really, really good match for her to have somebody who can smooth things out socially. And, with Sabiyah, she just doesn't really know where she stands. It felt like, she was just going to be, a vote for her. And, what was going to happen after? She'd be back at the bottom again. It was going to be Sabiyah and Sean if they lost again. And Emily, oh, well, she's out.
Well, and the craziest thing is, because of how much content we're seeing this season, we can sit here and be like, Emily made this brilliant move, but Caleb the
Mhm.
week before made a brilliant move because he singled out Emily, and he was like using those social skills you're talking about and just sort of being like, I can be here for you. And it's because he did that Emily decided to do what she
Yes.
did. So Caleb effectively saves his own game twice by forming that relationship with Emily, and then also listening to Emily, because I
Yeah.
will tell you, I was petrified that we were losing Caleb from
I
this
know.
episode. I was so unbelievably worried that he wasn't going to listen to her, especially when he gives that confessional where he is just sort of like, why would I listen to her? Because we already talked about her potentially knowing that I was going to be a vote, or I was going to be in danger. And so I felt like the edit was going to trick me into thinking that Caleb would figure this out, and he wouldn't.
This is why I always say that it's never too early to be playing for jury votes or to help get to the end. Like, I know there's lots of people out there that feel like, oh, if you don't know somebody's going to be on the jury, so why
Yeah.
bother now? Well, you don't know that they're not going to be. Like, this could be a situation where Caleb gets to the end. Emily is going to give him the vote. Like, it's there. He's earned it from her, unless somewhere along the line he blows it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and especially this move. Like, yes, this was a big move for Emily early on. She's got this on her resume. She was able to turn this around in a big, big way.
Yeah.
But Caleb also has this on his resume. This is something that he was going to be like the person that makes the choice on this of whether he's going to go with it or he's not going to go with it. And either way could have turned this game like completely different. He also had power in this.
And now he knows exactly, okay, I can really trust Emily moving forward because
Yes.
she did this for me. And sure, this also helps her in the game moving forward, but she certainly didn't have to do it. Now they can both move into this next phase of this three-person Lulu tribe feeling okay, because then there's Sean. Let's have a minor discussion about Sean. Given the amount of screen time the Lulu tribe has received within these 3 episodes, I still know almost nothing about Sean. Sean has achieved the very rare feat of being a ghost on a 4-person tribe 3 episodes into the show.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really surprised that they did end up losing this, to be honest. I mean, we saw them win reward,
Yeah,
and the tribe had really come together, and that's why I was also really surprised that Sabiyah was like pushing this thing of like, oh, if we end up at tribal, we'll get rid of Kale. But it's like, you don't need to talk about this before you're in danger. And I know not everyone's
Mhm.
going to agree with that take, but it just feels kind of like defeatist at that point. That it's just like, why allow there to be an opportunity for that information to
Mhm.
float around your tribe when you're not in danger yet? Because if it does float around, and it could have, I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't see everything, it's just like, that could really damage you. People don't keep secrets. So, for me, if I was playing this game, I would never play this game. This game is too hard for me. But if I was there playing this game,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, we really need to get rid of this person," to everybody in the tribe, but the one person that's not there. It's just kind of like, I know you need to take the time to talk about these things, but you also need to be in danger.
I think you got to be really careful. And I think my general rule of thumb is you never want to look like you're the person who came up with the plan. You want to be like the person who's agreeing to the plan,
Yes.
because then otherwise everybody's just going to sort of point at you and be like, okay, you're a pretty good strategic player. You're thinking a couple of steps ahead of everybody else. I don't want you to take any more steps ahead. I'm just going to cut you off right now. This is what happens. I just still can't get over the fact that number one, Caleb was almost going to get voted out because he's basically too good at Survivor. Two, the ridiculous visual of all of this, and I don't blame Sabiyah at all for trying to cook the idol at Tribal Council, but
Yeah, good for her.
it was just so funny. Like there is so much in this episode that was so funny. The stop hammer time sequence that is going on at the Reba tribe. You mentioned it a little bit already. If I was D and if I was Julie, I wouldn't have given them the hammer. I'm just gonna say that at that. They've already
No.
shown that they're keeping some things from you. They're basically doing what Sabiyah already did with Emily.
Yes, exactly what you said. Sabaya kept this from Emily, came to her at the last minute to be like, by the way, I'm building trust with you now because I have to, and I don't really have another choice. Yeah, that doesn't feel good. And Emily made the right choice to be like, okay, I have another option. I'm gonna
Yeah,
play my other option. And when we saw them, like, we've got, Austin, we got Drew, they're digging, they've got like their whole like, I'm eating tacos or whatever is
yeah,
going on with their lookout and digging
yeah.
partnership. What if I was D or Mama J that came across that? I would be out on them, completely out on them. The minute that, like, Drew's like, uh, uh, I would have been
Yeah.
like, oh, something's going on. They're not sharing it. No way. This is bad. Instead, they decided to play it another way, and maybe it'll work for a little while, but the two of them will always be on the bottom of what is going on with Austin and Drew. They will be the primary two. They're not like a primary four. And even though they've like proved their loyalty to the guys, like it's not going to be enough. I would have dumped them like right there and been like, okay, who else is on this tribe?
Yeah.
Let's go and talk to those people and move on.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Maybe what I'm about to say is too chaotic, but this is the world I want to live in Survivor. If we're having, people melting idols at Tribal Council, I feel like we can also have this. So they already, Drew and Austin do their shenanigans. D and, ultimately D and Mama J in this point are like, okay, all right, we something's a little off about this. They get access to the hammer. They go, they get the idol, then they have the idol. Then, if Drew and Austin start getting suspicious or shady or whatever, then they can have, like they have house meetings on Big Brother. We can have a little bit here of a tribe, an island meeting, if you will, where you go to like J Maya and Sifu, be like, you want to know what Drew and Austin have been up to and the secrets that they have been keeping? And sure, you are kind of doing in this situation the same similar sort of thing where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you information when it's convenient, but you're basically telling them you are going to be number 5 and number 6 on this tribe. Now, Drew, Austin, they're bad. Be with us. And then you get to move up a little bit in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they could have sold that to be like, we didn't know what was going on. They didn't tell us anything. Clearly, they didn't tell you guys anything.
Yeah.
We happened upon them while they're digging, for this idol. So we agreed to help them, got the idol, and now we're over here with you guys. These guys, they need to go. We need to be together. They were going to, like, screw everybody over.
You want to talk tribe raid? There's some pirating going on
Oh
Survivor.
boy, the tri braid. It feels like, kind of a weaker version of Outlast, which I've mentioned
Yeah.
on these videos before. If you haven't seen that show, it's on Netflix. It is like Survivor, but there are no rules. You could burn down somebody else's camp. You could burn down your own camp. I watched somebody do that on that show. You can raid other people's camps, steal their sleeping bags, steal their food, anything to make the other teams quit. It is wild. So yeah, I was like, oh, raid, what can you do? Can you burn down somebody's camp? No, but you can take their fishing gear.
This was the friendliest raid I have ever seen. And, this for Caleb, yeah, this is a good way to handle it. You
Yeah.
make friends. I mean, there was a certain part of it, not trying to just make a bunch of Big Brother metaphors, but it felt like at a certain point, Caleb was like, I'm HOH. Everybody come and have individual one-on-one conversations with me. And at a certain point, and I love Caleb, but if I was on the Reba McEntire tribe, I would just sort of be like, why is this guy coming over here and dictating the rules for like
Yes.
his own stay? And maybe it's because he's so friendly and he has such an infectious smile that everybody was like, okay, Caleb, maybe this is why Caleb will win the game. Maybe that's why he was such a danger here.
Yeah, and I mean, he did have this advantage that he could give to somebody. Who out there was surprised that he gave it to Drew? Leave it in the comments. Were you surprised?
Yes, actually, I had to take a second to think about it because there's a part of me that was just like, okay, maybe he hit it off with Drew and maybe he thought that would be a good move. But at the end of the day, we have all seen so many seasons of Survivor. I would never trust the people who look like me on Survivor, who have the glasses, who look like nerdy super fans. I would give it to anyone other than that person. I don't want to give that person any more power within the game. He doesn't know that, like, that Drew is off like twirling his mustache and trying to pretend that he's like a villain in confessionals or anything, but I still wouldn't trust him.
No, if I was on this show or Big Brother, since we're talking about that as well, if I saw somebody who was a nerdy guy who looked like you, I
Yeah.
would absolutely be out on them and I would need them to go. People that are like, the nerdy guys typically go real far or they
Yep.
win the show. They always end up being favorites of the fandom. I'd be like, and you gotta go. I'm certainly not giving them an advantage.
I would probably give it to J Maya, the singer, just because I have not seen a lot of game from her as of yet. She might be a big Survivor fan. I don't know that much about her, but from what we have seen on the show, I would be least threatened by her out of anybody on that tribe. So she probably needs it a little bit less. And then she can remember that. And she's somebody who may want to work with you a little bit later on.
I mean, Caleb may have been getting a read from some of the people that they felt he was a little salesman-y and that, we don't see everything, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible that he kind of got that read from other people and then was like, okay, Drew, you're my guy.
All right, let's go over here to Belo for a moment because it is time for the weekly segment where we visit Bruce, your favorite.
It's Bruce's block. Let's go.
Okay, so
It's time for the Bruce juice.
what is the Bruce juice tasting like this week? Because Bruce continues to be a very interesting player where he's either incredibly fun to people or incredibly annoying, and there is apparently no middle ground at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Bruce, so I don't really get why he'd be annoying. Like, listen, like I know he's kind of got like the uncle jokes or the dad jokes, and he's doing a robot and whatever. It's all just so harmless. Like it doesn't. I know he's playing it to play the game, but like those things aren't annoying to me. They're just kind of like it's nice having like that sort of positive feel or joking feel with somebody when you're in these types of situations because you're hungry and you're tired and you're sleeping on the ground. You can get really down very easily. So to have somebody that has positive energy, whether it's, jokes or whatever, I mean, it's really valuable.
I think Bruce is an interesting guy. I would keep Bruce around mostly because he feels like the least subtle person of all time, in between his robot moves and him being loud. And I just feel like I'm going to know where he stands. I don't think he's going to be particularly great at hiding things from me. And if he tries to, I'm probably going to be able to figure it out.
It's also interesting to keep hearing people be like, it's his second time around. He's played this game. It's like he was there for like a minute and then bonked his head. Like,
Yeah.
he was barely in this game. Like, he is, to me, basically not in this game. He didn't really get to do anything.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can eventually do because it is funny. We are now like more than a week into like Survivor time anyway. They've
Mm.
been out there for more than a week. Bruce has still yet to go to a single tribal council in his
Mhm.
2 seasons as a Survivor player. And that tribe is kind of interesting where you kind of have lawyer Jake, which, thank goodness Jake is okay. Like I was
Mhm.
really like that could have been really, really bad.
Yeah, I was worried too. As he was like blowing and blowing,
Yeah.
blowing the fire, I'm like, oh, he's gonna give himself a head rush. And sure enough, whoop, I was like, oh God,
Yeah.
is he gonna fall into that fire? Like, I mean, yeah.
No, thank goodness he's okay.
Yeah, especially doing it around the fire. I've
Yeah,
seen people fall in the fire on like Alone or other survival shows, so it's like it's pretty dangerous.
yeah, it's really dangerous, but luckily he's okay. He actually was able to use this as a bonding
Mhm.
experience with Kendra, and
Yeah.
it seems like they're maybe at the middle of this tribe. But once again,
Mhm.
who really knows with the Belo tribe? I still have very little read on these people. I think it's because my obsession remains currently with the saga of Caleb and Emily and whether or not I will go back to loathing Emily as a player again in a week.
Listen, like I feel still the same at this. Like I still want I mean they haven't merged yet. We don't know if Emily and Bruce will be there at the merge, but I'd still like to see an apology from Emily to Bruce because she came in really hot on him
Mm,
for no real
yeah,
reason. He hadn't done anything and she was really rude to him. But I am seeing like some change. Like you said, it's been a week in Survivor time. It's
yeah.
not really enough time to make significant change, but I'm open to seeing people change. I think anybody can change. Anybody's capable of it. And, in a Survivor type situation or like Big Brother or anything, time goes a lot like faster. We see only a week, but for them it's like, "Oh my god, it's like we've been here a month already" because it's really an intense situation.
Yeah, it's there's a lot that really kind of comes out of having these very close conversations where you don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Emilia, but I am going to say that that move from Emily tonight was 10 out of 10, girl. That was such a move.
All right, well, we will dive into so much more all season long. I mean, Probes, do your victory lap. You've earned it after these past couple of episodes, but hit that subscribe button, guys. It's a birthday gift to me. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you to our patrons as well.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys here next time.